Welcome. My name is Douglas Getz, and you've found your way to the Diving and Thriving podcast. Here, we have enlightening conversations about how we can better navigate this sometimes crazy world we live in. From refreshing spiritual perspectives to tips about personal growth, the focus here is about how we can become better human beings. So I'd like to thank you for being here today, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Welcome, everyone, to the Diving and Thriving podcast. Today, I got a wonderful guest in Oliver Fredericks. Oliver, how are you?
I'm doing good, Doug. How are you?
Good, man. Good. I'm glad I got you on the podcast. You know, it's like a really fantastic thing because I'm just starting to get to the point where people are reaching out to me to be on the podcast. They see me posting it on Instagram and they say, "Hey, do you need another guest?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm so happy to have you as a guest. I'm happy I'll have anybody as a guest."
Awesome.
Yeah, because it's an awesome thing. People get to share their stories. They get to share what they've learned. They get to just be. And yeah,
I love it. Everyone's got something to teach, right? So
yeah,
keep it up, man. Very cool.
Yeah, everyone's got a story too. And like, regardless of how old you are, you could be like 18, 20, like whether like you haven't even left the 20s, like you still have experience. You've still gone through shit. You still learned some shit.
Yeah.
And
no man steps through the same river twice, because the river changed and he did as well, stepping through it.
Yeah.
We're always changing. That's something, I think resilience is such a trait that is not, it's a trait that no one really has developed, especially with COVID and all of that. I mean, we all kind of got hit, didn't we?
Yeah.
But it's all about bouncing back, So it's all that, really.
Yeah, life definitely it goes up and it goes down and it comes in waves, kind of. And so it's when you're at those low points, because it's easy to live when you're at those high points. Life isn't a problem. You can handle pretty much everything when you're at one of those high points.
Yeah, you really can.
It's the low points that you have to be aware of and either reach out to people or like learn new strategies for dealing with things, because those low points can be tough.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people are resistant to change a lot of times on things that they don't even really put thought to, but they actually subconsciously, are resisting. Like, I think
it's
that, you know what I'm saying,
it's hard to change too.
It is. I mean, even when we're at those low points, we don't really, a lot of times I feel like 80% of the time humans, I know that I'm victim to it, so I'm not just like pointing the finger at everyone, but I know that it happens to me, are automatically just going through the motions, going through life. And then there are those like conversations that we have or those stories that we hear where we're really mindful. I mean, conversations are such a mindful activity, but we're truly in the moment, I feel like, during conversation.
Yeah.
And
there's like a couple things. There's like a couple things I've noticed that bring me to the present moment. One thing is live music. If I'm ever at a concert or if I'm ever at a music festival, I'm there. I'm not anywhere else. I'm taking in all the graphics and the performance and fireworks and everything that comes along with that. Playing music too. So playing drums.
Yes.
It forces you to pay attention. If you're not paying attention, you're missing cool.
Right. You're off beat.
Your fingers aren't going where they're supposed to. So you're missing things. And
musicians have an air about them, and it's, I mean, I'm sure you've jammed with other people, but it really, when you're jamming with people, it's like you guys are talking through music and it's like a lively conversation, it goes back to that. I think it's all just like being in the present, we have to find those activities that keep us in the present, because those are the good things.
Yeah, we do, man. Like I've noticed when, like something I've really noticed, I can point out when I'm not in the present moment is when I'm watching a video or I got something playing on TV and I'm also scrolling on my phone at the same time. I realize if I'm ever doing like two things like that at once, I'm not present any longer. I'm just killing time at that point. It's I don't care. I could be doing that. I could be doing this. It doesn't, I could be reading a book and the TV playing, or I could be playing video games. It's at that point when it's like, it doesn't matter what thing I'm doing while the TV's on, or it's like, just kind of like, I could tell I'm not present then. I could tell.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like just that automatic thumb up or left, right, swipe, whatever, you know?
Yeah.
We're all just thumbs these days, and I think a lot of humans think like thumbs.
Yeah.
But it's good to, it's good to connect back to your heart, to your brain. And that's awesome that you can call yourself out like that and be like, wait a minute, what am I doing? I'm just like scrolling or whatever.
Yeah, I've been able to pick that up about myself. If I've ever been inside for too long, scrolling on my phone for too much, or just like kind of going crazy in my head, I know like one of my answers is I got to go on a run. I got to go on a run.
Exercising is such a mindful thing.
I know.
Absolutely.
I know. And for me, like a run is different than lifting weights, because like as you lift weights, there's still time between your sets. You might take 45 seconds between you, or a minute.
Right, a little breather here
before you go back. When you
running, you're hitting that wall, but you're overcoming that wall, and then you're overcoming another wall. I love running. Yeah,
it's fun, man. And it's something that forces you to, you might have thoughts that come into your head, but at the same time, you're breathing heavy at the same time. So that thought is going to come and it's going to go. It's not sticking around. It might come back a couple times, but you're in the middle of doing something. Like, I don't have time for that thought.
I don't got time for this. I
don't got time for that. That's how it goes. So that's where my mind goes to after I've been inside for too much, or like, and then it's about shortening that time of knowing I got to go on a run and then actually going on a run. The more
that's a hard thing.
Yeah,
that's
the more time that's in between that, the more I'm just like sitting around.
Right. I'm like never mind. Procrastinating. It's a killer. It's a killer.
Yeah, man. That's cool. But yeah, thanks for coming on, man. You have a really interesting history. We met at the art studio in Pottstown, Cosmic Art.
We really hit it off, didn't we?
Yeah. And I remember we had a super cool conversation about mental health. And you were even, you currently work in mental health, right? Right?
I do. I have a kind of long history. I guess. I mean, I'm only 27, but I got, don't we all, we all have something to share. So I got into mental health, after going through, some kind of traumatic experiences in my childhood, the passing of my mother, and just like an ugly child custody battle, that kind of left us a little, rattled, I guess. And I saw the effects. It's not hard to, even as a child, right? So it always kind of, like, I always kind of thought, why are people thinking this way? Why are people, what are their motives? I loved the brain. And my dad was a researcher. And, God bless his heart for being able to help 3 children, get through college and still be here and love us so much. Love that guy. Shout out to William.
Yeah.
But I always had a lot of interest in research, and I also had interest in the brain. My dad was a biologist working for like cancer research, but he was, he didn't really like how things were run. So he told me to get out of it. I wanted to like stick through it to uphold the family name in a way, I guess, holding on to some false image. doesn't matter though, because I feel like I took myself seriously through college, and I was able to get a lot of research and present a lot of work uh, that my professors gave, anything they gave my way. I'd digest hundreds of papers and Excel sheets, and yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But I knew that it was all just like, another notch in the belt or something, building my strength or power or experience. And so anyway, after college, I worked in a school setting for a little bit, and I got to see just, it brought back old memories, because I got to see this child that had a lot of behavior issues, came from like a broken home, neglected home. And I mean, that wasn't like me. I'm not saying that like it hit home, but it resonated with me. And, it was a lot to deal with. The social work and things like that, like it's a lot. Anyway, at that time, it was I wanted to like just try more and more things, get that experience. Then I worked for a little bit in like a residential home, which is what I currently do. And that was fun. That was nice. But you got to really see what goes on in the household. So again, it's all just, a big theme in my life.
Yeah.
Mental health.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's crazy. Like when you start to dive into the households of kids as they're growing up, you really start to understand why someone is the way they are.
Yeah,
Like,
it makes so much sense.
Things from the
Really
parents
does.
just funnel right into the kid. Like whether
Oh my gosh. I look at myself every day and I'm like, I mean, it makes kind of a lot of sense, but I'm so much my dad some ways. I'm so much my mom in other ways, like
yeah,
they really
right?
live through us.
And then we got to see like what part we actually came into the world with. So what part is us? Like we're part our mom, part our dad, part our grandparents,
right,
part
totally.
of like a whole bunch of people, and then there's us somewhere in that mix. There's you, there's me.
Yeah. I always love the idea, and we might have even talked about it, because I've always had such a keen interest in ancient Greece, the mythology, the stories. I love stories. They thought that, what the soul is not like, this like ghost or whatever, but more like traits, and it was like a primitive way kind of explaining mental health and behavior. And just like let me back up, I'm getting jumbled.
Yeah.
But they kind of saw the soul as like a collection of your role models, maybe the heroes in your life, the villains in your life, you in your life, what you did in your life, and that's what your soul really was, and that's the weight that it carried. But I agree with that, really, because I mean, like, we have people we look up to, or even subconsciously, maybe they dress a way we like, or we like how they look, or we like the cut of their jib, whatever. And we're like, hey, I kind of like that. And you kind of like absorb and like become a little bit like them in a way. I mean, fake it till you make it, I guess. But
yeah,
are you what's real, what's fake?
That's the thing that you kind of do. I guess it's a good thing too. You're supposed to pretty much do that as you grow up. You get experience to other people, and you see how they are, and then you get to see the good about them and then the bad about them. And then
make a judgment call,
Yeah, and then ideally you just take away the good. Like, not everyone's perfect. Nobody's perfect, really. So, like, everybody has like a couple good traits. They know how to do this, or they're good
real
with
well,
money,
right?
Or they're great with listening to other people, or they make you feel a certain way as you're talking to them. And then you got to think, well, what is it that they're doing? Because they're doing something right.
Yeah.
What is that? So yeah. I mean, we do become a collection of other people. We just, a lot of the benefit comes when you look back at yourself and you say, how did I become this way?
Yeah. For real. What a
Yeah.
reflection, I mean, really looking in the mirror is another thing that, as a society, I wish we took more importance to. That that's a very important journey. I've just recently, gotten back on the therapy train. I think everyone should do it at
Yeah.
least once.
Yeah, man. I'm just getting on that train myself.
Yeah, I mean, with the apps we have, it's so accessible. You can do it through that. You can do a Zoom call like this. Yeah, it's like, why not better yourself? Because we're resistant to change. It goes back to that. A lot of times we're like, I'm comfortable hating myself, and it's like, why? Why are you comfortable with that? You shouldn't be.
Because it's like it might be the only thing you've known.
Yeah,
Like,
you're right. You're right.
It's really tough trying to create a new reality when you don't know anything else.
You're absolutely right about
Like
that.
envisioning paradise when all you've lived in is like
Hell.
hell.
Right. Right. Yeah.
No.
And I think that goes back to what we were talking about with, the importance of storytelling, the importance of characters, the importance of heroes and villains. I mean, we all have this story ourselves, and we learn from others. We're social creatures.
Yeah. Yeah, man. They used stories before books began printed. Stories were just the things that were passed down from generation to generation. And
Mm-hmm.
like pretty much every story, or a large majority of stories, were like parables. Like that's how the parables in the Bible came about.
Right, like Aesop's fables.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Totally.
It would have a
Yeah.
moral to it, like the boy who cried wolf, or like whatever. A lot of like different stories came about, like try to teach lessons. So yeah, it's a really awesome thing. I know you have plenty of stories. I have plenty of stories. I love listening to stories and I love sharing stories because it's as if you're like opening up a book, but it's
Right.
interactive. You're
Right. It's like a movie, and I mean,
yeah,
it's in, yeah, or like what I love is the perspective, because you're hearing it from how they saw it or how they did it.
yeah,
And I think that's really cool because you really do get to peek inside.
yeah, yeah. It's super cool, and yeah, you can learn so much stuff. I love people because you could listen. I could listen all day to somebody interesting, like somebody's got cool things to say, who's done a lot of stuff. Like people, your neighbor could have been to like Africa or India and done some crazy things. And like he's right there. He's next.
Right. And all you do is wave good morning.
And you might just wave good morning. Yeah. And you might
Yeah.
never access those stories, but everybody's got a story. So yeah, that's one thing I'm really happy about with the podcast is I get to share some stories.
Yeah, you really do. You're
Part of
doing
it
the
is
right
story
thing.
time.
You're finding the good that you hold on to.
Yeah.
So I approve. I
Yeah.
share that with you.
Thanks, man.
Um,
Yeah.
I think that you kind of like with the whole neighbor thing, it kind of made me think a little bit of creating like luck and creating opportunities. And you know, we just got to throw ourselves out there. We got to throw that line and see what bites, right? Like that's
Yeah.
an important thing that I've learned over the years, I feel like, and it's always true.
Yeah.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. It's always true.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's a really good point. We were kind of talking about that earlier with kind of following the good.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And the good brings the good. It only,
exactly. And like
increases.
if you're feeling good, like more good things are gonna come to you. What I've noticed is if like something comes up, if I have a thought of like, oh, I should say that to my neighbor, and then I miss that opportunity, I'm like, damn. Like, and then I go about it and I don't think about it anymore. But like countless examples of like, if you're feeling good, a lot of times that first thought of, oh, I should, oh, hey, so and so, I wanted to catch you or something. if you have that interaction, and usually like if you're feeling like shit, you're probably not
aren't gonna reach out, right?
You're not gonna reach out. No.
Yeah.
If you're feeling good, like you're gonna reach out, and then maybe a story will come from it or a connection is made. Like the story. So I'm talking to you on a laptop right now, and this past like fall, like in the summer, the laptop I was using like shit the bed, stopped working, and I was taking a class online for
Oh man.
Yeah. So I borrowed my buddy's laptop, and it was like a Lenovo, but he put an Apple sticker on the front of it. So it looked like a Mac. It was all silver. I was laughing.
There you go.
I was like, great, I'm one step closer to a Mac.
Hey, I got fake Gucci's, so I understand.
It's great image. Great image. And so I remember like this computer was like slow, but I was happy to just be using it. I remember for years I was saying, I'm going to get a Mac. I'm going to get a newer Mac. I used to have like a 2008 Mac, which was like the white type before they went to like silver.
Yeah.
It was like one of those. And that the hard drive just went. And so I went like a little bit without a computer. I was using another computer that my brother got from Costa Rica. Just things were just like coming my way, and I was using it while I was there. And so during like my Zoom class, the teacher said, okay, if everyone could just download this thing and then start working on that. It was like a Google file or something that had to be downloaded. And I said, I was feeling good that day. And I said, excuse me, teacher, if I try to download that, my computer's going to crash. So I don't think I'll be able to do that. And she says, well, if that's the case, like I have a computer that you can have. It's kind of broken, but if you want to fix it, you're welcome. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, well, we'll talk about it after class. And I'm like, okay. So I stay after class, like hang out in a little Zoom call. We talk. And she's like, yeah, I have a computer that you can use. And I was like, oh, interesting. Like what type of computer is it? She's like, oh, it's a Mac. I was like, it's a Mac? Yeah, you can use it. Something went wrong with the charger. It stopped working. Like I bought a new one, but I just still have it. So you can have it. You can have it for free. Really?
That's incredible.
And so like I head up north and I go pick it up from her, and like I take it to a computer repair shop, and they charge me $180 to fix the battery part. It wasn't like the motherboard, but it was like the baby board or whatever.
Okay, right. But all fixable.
They fixed it, and then I bought a charger off Amazon for $20. And the computer worked.
That's a come up right there, Doug.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and I got the Mac that I was looking for $200. And I was saying that for years. Like, I'm gonna get a Mac for $200. Like, I know usually like $300-400. I'm not gonna pay that. I'm gonna pay $200.
So you had that thought that you were gonna be able to. You had this. Wow, it's almost like you manifested it.
Yeah, I had it for a while. Like the thought was in my head. It was there for like probably like 2 years or something. I'm gonna get a Mac for like $200. I wasn't spending like so much attention on it, but I just remember thinking that I'm gonna get a Mac for $200 somehow. Because I've like really trusted the universe in like taking care of certain issues. So it stops me from worrying sometimes. Like other things I do like focus on too much, and it's just like doesn't help. But other times like I can just trust it, like things are gonna work out. I'm gonna get this somehow, or it's just gonna work out. And like that's a perfect example. And
that is an excellent example. And we really are, Paradise Lost, classic literature about, Lucifer trying to take over heaven and then getting cast down to hell, right? By John Milton, I think. But there's an excellent quote where it's something along the lines of, you can make a heaven out of hell, or you can make a hell out of heaven. It's all in the mind.
Wow.
Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is within, right? Parliament said the kingdom of heaven is within. What else did they say? Free your ass and your mind will follow. Free your ass and your mind will follow. It's very true.
Yeah, that's really a true thing. You can be living in either heaven or hell, and your environment might not change. But
or
like,
free your mind and your ass will follow. That's what it is. I'm sorry.
that's cool. But yeah,
But
know, and that whole situation with the computer all came from me feeling good that one day, or going out on a limb and saying, hey, professor, if I try to download that, my computer's going to crash.
When you ask for help, it comes.
Yeah.
Time and time again.
It was like, I didn't even ask for help. It was just, I was feeling good. The thought came to my mind to say that. And then I said it. Like, I'm surprised of like how many times thoughts will come to my mind. And depending on where I'm at, like mentally or feeling that day, I'll say it or I won't say it. But a lot of times if I say it, like, it creates a nice string of events or comments or communication that just, it's fun. It leads somewhere, or good interactions come from it, or a friendship's made, or a great conversation is had. And yeah, things come from that. I've noticed that if I'm feeling good and I'll say the first thing that's on my mind, and it's a fun, or it's a cool, fun comment or something, like it's usually a good thing that comes from it.
Yeah.
It's like that. If you're feeling good and you're putting out good, it's going to come back.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. I remember, I mean, it's that synchronicity where like, if you follow the trail, you get to the pot of gold or whatever.
Yeah.
Follow the rainbow, you find the pot of gold, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
We said it earlier, like literally following that rainbow. A lady by the name of Abraham Hicks talks about it. If you've never looked her up, look her up on YouTube. It's amazing. Says some really great stuff with the law of attraction and vibrations and energies. And she says, just focus on what makes you feel good. If you're like in a bad mood, don't try to figure out your life then. That's you're not gonna be helping yourself then.
Oh, been there.
we try. We wanna like,
I know, we mean well, we do.
We do, but it's like going about it in the wrong way. Like,
yeah. The road to hell is paved
beneficial to us. Like, we're better off going on a run or eating a good meal first.
Taking a break and coming back to it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We get pent up, we get these energies that a lot of times we aren't really realizing that we're not dealing with, but we are actually reacting to these things that, these stimuli that are coming our way, life, time, right? Yeah. Whatever stressors come our way, we're reacting to it.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't even realize though.
Yeah.
But it's that mindfulness of like, I'm in a good spot. I am where I need to be. Once we realize that like we are in paradise, you see the light more and more. You see the brightness every day.
Yeah. You really can be in paradise too. Like, you could be in paradise or you could be living in hell, honestly. And not much may really change like one day to the next other than your mindset.
Right. It's the only thing we really can change. I mean, I think they say that like 90% of all medical, like, cancer or heart attacks or any debilitating thing, 90% of the time, it's because of our behaviors and our actions.
It's like, I've also heard it's like emotions that are tied to certain things, or like feeling guilty or always being angry, or like things like that. If you're always angry and your heart's racing because you're just pissed off, like, you're going to have heart problems.
Yeah, you're going to have a bad time, Yeah. But people really are just like so stubborn. I'm stubborn. I'm so freaking stubborn. Like, it's terrible. It's probably like, Oedipus, or no, not Odysseus had hubris. I have stubbornness. Definitely. But it's something, it's a working process, right?
Yeah. Odysseus had hubris. What is that?
Pride. So like, there's a difference between being proud and having pride, right? Or like too much pride. excessive pride. I think that, and it's all of the great heroes, that has been their biggest downfall. If you look at every great story, it's their hubris that kills them. Beowulf, Odysseus, I think even Gilgamesh, one of the oldest epics of all time. It was their pride that killed them. Yeah. But, they've been immortalized regardlessly. So, but, it was that downfall. Even Huckleberry Finn, I think, got in trouble by, thinking too highly of himself.
Yeah.
It's good to be humble.
Yeah.
As humble as me. No, I'm just kidding. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. It's really interesting. Like, life does go in that wave kind of deal, that sine wave, that cosine kind of flow where it goes up and it goes down. And like at the times when you're up, like you gotta be careful from being too confident,
Yeah, it's a slippery slope sometimes,
Because, eventually like the world has a way of knocking you back down.
Only all balance. There's always balance. Yes.
Yeah, it'll humble you one way or another. Like oh, you think you're tough. Oh, okay.
Right.
And eventually, like if you go around like pushing your chest out so many times, like you're gonna get checked and it might not turn out the way you thought it would. And you're like, oh gosh, that knocked me off my horse.
Right.
I gotta like work on getting back up again. So.
It's important to be proud of things, though. I think reality checks are important too. Every day we have to be grateful of where we are, who we've become, warts and all. Whoops. Sorry.
What's his name? Her name.
Reishi. Actually at the art studio, they found him and I guess another cat in the woods. Sorry, he's distracting. They found him in the woods.
Yeah.
3 months old. So I'm guessing his like mom or something was out hunting and then they just like heard them meowing or something. But like, oh my God, I was at Valley Forge the other day and I saw a huge hawk, not even like 10 feet away from me on a tree, munching on a cat that looked exactly like Reishi. And I'm like, ooh, we're not taking you out anymore. But he's been happy. He's been real happy. He's grown so much. And, he's brought so much joy. I don't know if you have any pets, but
I do.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I got a little cat myself. Yeah,
nice.
Cody. Yeah, man, they're such a great little companion.
Yeah, they really are. I don't know, like where I'd be mentally right now without him because as I've said, COVID was really hard. I know that we kind of went on a long, wonderful diet or rant, but that's why we're here. Yeah. But backing up a little, with my background, when COVID hit is when I was planning on moving out of my hometown in Kennett Square. So I had dropped my job, which at the time was being like an admissions person for a vocational program for people with mental health problems or physical developmental disabilities. And I was I brought like I think at least 150 people in there in the short amount of time I was there, which was pretty impressive.
That's good.
But I wanted more. I have such a hunger, like, oh my God, that's why I love talking to people. I love finding out, but I had to move on. I'm a wanderer in a little bit of a way, I guess. Not really, but I like to think I am. But so anyway, I wanted to move closer to the city. But then COVID hit and I worked at the time as a case manager in like this area and out in Bryn Mawr. And that was more of the background. I was used to being on the scene. That's what I liked, being in we call it like the battlefield, right? Like I liked that up front, working, applying the skills. I'm much more applicable than I am. What's the opposite? You know what I mean? I just need like, I'm good with my hands, you know?
Yeah.
I'm good with how I like interact with the client. But the job that I had as a case manager, I was just writing these endless reports every month. You know, you had to write at least 40 reports. And then like every 3 months, you had to write another 12 or whatever, you know, and it's just like, ay.
Yeah.
So they also made us work from home. And I mean, from like 7 a.m. to sometimes 9 p.m., sometimes the weekends. I couldn't even be myself.
Yeah. There's no time.
There's no time. I gotta work, you know.
Yeah.
It was tough, and it affected me a lot for sure. But then I realized, you know, I'm making myself a prisoner. I'm not tied down to this job as a case manager. I need to get out of here. And that's when I found where I work now. I work it with the top 1% most severe case of autism, bipolar in like the Northeast region. It's tough. It gets tough, but we have a lot of fun too. I'm on my feet more, which is great. You know, sitting at a computer all day just turns your brain into a slushy.
That shit's draining.
FYI.
That shit's draining. Yeah.
So draining.
Rough.
And you don't even move. You'd think that you'd be drained from moving. You actually get more energy when you exercise and you move, I've found. But isn't that funny how that works?
It's really fun. It's like the body in motion stays in motion.
Yeah. A rolling stone gathers no moss, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, so, you know, I'm actually making a difference instead of writing these reports that no one reads, that just like are colossal, you know, you're constantly having to type, sometimes sacrificing lunch breaks, like not good, you know, not good. But I can be a workaholic sometimes, and I realize that. But anyway, my job's great. You know, I get to read to her. I get to swim with her. I'm active. My mind is staying stimulated, not going type. The corporate world I've become so disillusioned with over the years. And, you know, we're raised by our parents to say, oh, you need a salary job with benefits and health insurance, and you need a white picket fence with this and that and the other, and a little yappy dog. Like, no, you can be you. Don't forget that. Because a lot of times, you know, that super ego in our head is just our dad or our mom just like ringing in our ears, you know.
Yeah. So you say it's the top 1% of autistic and bipolar cases. How do you know it's that 1%? Like, is it just
a lot of it has to do with the funding they receive from the government. So the person I work with gets like $500,000 every year to have paid for her services.
Wow.
Yeah. So like on that, you can see from that scale, you know.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. She gets a lot of help, but she needs a lot of help.
Yeah.
She really does.
Damn. $500,000 in help.
Yeah. We get paid nicely. That helps too. That helps us.
Man. What kind of government program is that? Like,
so let me think. It's been a while since I've been in the background, but it's and so like IDD, it stands for intellectual developmental disorder. And if you have some sort of diagnosis that warrants a developmental diagnosis, you know, like autism or something like that, then you can get funding provided from the government. And yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, you know, I know I even have a cousin who has autism. And my older cousin is like his father, and he's helping him grow, but it's like speech isn't there.
Yeah.
Like a couple things. I didn't know that the government really did that much.
Yeah. It's a lot of help. But I mean, you know, it's sad because like there's like a huge population of America that thinks that, you know, they don't have anyone in their immediate vicinity that has that diagnosis. So they think that like, oh, that money could be, for I don't know what they want, like the death penalty or whatever, just
roads.
Or for roads or my taxes or whatever, my taxes, it's like, yeah, you're helping people. We're all helping people, which is something we don't realize when we pay taxes and things like that. But like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's
it goes somewhere. It does go somewhere.
It makes me think what happened back in the day when like they didn't have those kind of resources for autistic kids and things. Like it makes me think like autism isn't anything new. Like I'm sure that's been around for hundreds of years, right?
I think the definition of what makes someone have that diagnosis of autism has changed over the years. We used to have Asperger's and pervasive developmental disorder, which we've now combined with autism. So now it's just kind of an umbrella.
Yeah.
I mean, over the years, we've realized that like mental health isn't black and white. You don't either have schizophrenia or you don't. You aren't either a psychopath or you aren't. It doesn't really work like that. It's all like a chroma, like there's a rainbow to it all.
Yeah. Spectrum.
Spectrum.
Where you fall on it. Yeah.
Yeah. And in a million different ways. We don't really have like how baboons have a hierarchy in that sense, where like the alpha male has the most testosterone or whatever. Because we have so many millions of things. Like someone could be like the top Halo player, but like not the like best student in school or whatever.
Yeah.
Everyone's a king and a fool in a million different ways.
Yeah. It makes me think like, so with more, because like what did they do in the old days, like in the early 1900s with like autism? Like it makes me think that people would just get sent to like insane asylums or
so before insane asylums,
psychiatric hospitals, and like, here, just deal with it. And then they're like, well, he can't talk and he's 30, so he must be insane.
Let's throw him in a white room to scream his lungs out every day. And I saw that in the schools. It made me sick. It really did. Like, we're still not really there on how we can like help someone and empathize with someone. But it's tough because a lot of times they can be serving as a distraction to other kids that might not do well with that kind of distraction. So sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But like, it's tough. It's really tough.
That's a tough situation, man. That's tough to figure out. Yeah. What do we do with the kid that like screaming his lungs out? You hope there's like a program for him instead of like,
I'm sure
leaving him behind. Like, you got to take a kid out of school. Good luck with him.
Well, the kid I worked with, he was initially in like normal education because he was so smart. He was talking about parts of the brain that like I was learning about in college. And this kid's in second grade, like, but he was neglected. The parents would just like throw an iPad his way and he'd just be up on it all night, not brushing his teeth, just eating Cheez-Its, like dreads in his hair because he doesn't bathe, warthog teeth because he just eats sugar and Cheez-Its. Like, it was so sad, but he was so smart, but his behavior and he couldn't decompress. Once he got up, it just kept going up, 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 up. And it was all day.
Yeah.
But he was so smart, and it's just I wish he had more of an individual program. I bet with COVID, he could like go on the iPad. I'm hopeful. You got to have hope. Pandora's box, the last thing that came out was hope. But I'm always hopeful of the people that I interact with, that they're doing good. Even if like I didn't have a good time with them, I'm always hoping that they're doing good. You learn from everyone.
Yeah.
The good and the bad.
That's
I learned that I didn't really like that environment, but I hope the best. I really do. I hope that COVID was a silver lining for him. And I think it might be.
Yeah.
I like to think so in my reality.
Definitely can be.
Yeah.
What was it about the environment that you didn't like? Was it the education environment, or was it how?
Yeah, that was when I was in the school.
Okay. Was it about
And
like how things were run in the school? Like,
yeah, he was a lot of times he got angry because like he was in second grade learning basic math and he already knew how to divide, which is like fifth grade, or fourth grade. And so he just felt like he wasn't being stimulated, and he wasn't. They were asking him, is this a circle? Is this a triangle? He's telling me, the frontal lobe is responsible for personality, and like the temporal lobes are for auditory, and the cerebellum's for balancing. I'm like, holy shit, this kid's gifted, like,
this kid knows some shit. And you're
yeah.
asking him like, is this a circle? Like, what's a triangle look like? Can you draw that?
Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, I had a lot of problems, and I mean, there is a dumbing down of America, for sure, with so many colleges being like, oh, we're just going to take all your money and you make the most of it.
yeah. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. We'll give you your diploma. Good luck.
Every like when I graduated college, the big highlight speaker at every speaker was just like, be passionate. You got to be passionate. It's like, yeah, no shit. I'm going to have to be passionate about paying these loans off, like,
yeah. Yeah, man, that's a thing. Like, so like the kid that wasn't getting his attention, like there's a lot that's fucked up about the education system, especially like in America. I'm sure it's like other countries, like the more developed countries. Like it started off as like a means to like get more employees for like factory work. Like that's how it started
right.
off.
Yeah, school.
You had to be able to follow directions.
Ring, 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 ring. Lunchtime.
Yeah, all right, we all go. Yeah. That's how it was set up, was because there's a lot of factories. They needed more workers. They needed more employees to follow the rules. So like the education system was set up way back then with that.
But we're so, it goes back to what
we
were
developed so
about.
much that it hasn't.
We live in an age of like automation, like robots are doing the things that we were modeled to do.
Yeah.
Factory workers. We don't live in the age of industry anymore. Yeah.
And that's just going to keep increasing.
Yeah, and humans are so resistant to change. It's it's a thing that we're like, no, we have to hold on, clutch our pearls or whatever. Throw all our eggs in one basket. Like,
yeah, man, it's the education was kind of is still screwed. Like I've came across this one different type of school. It was called the Sudbury School. And it was run up in Massachusetts, and it was kind of like a franchise kind of model where you could model it elsewhere. But it was like totally revolutionary, where it revolved around the student's passion and the student's interest. So if a student wants to learn how to read, they're going to learn how to read in like a month to 2 months. Like learn everything.
It's kind of like Montessori. Like you highlight like what you're interested in. It's that law of attraction. Like they really hold on to that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, versus teaching them math when they want to learn how to read
or draw or whatever. Yeah,
they don't have the interest. They don't have the passion.
So they're not going to put the energy in. Yeah,
exactly.
We put the energy in on the things we like.
Exactly.
My mom was a Montessori teacher, so I feel like a lot of it's kind of like resonated with me these years for sure.
That's really cool. Yeah, it's different kind of philosophies that can really stimulate a student that can like change how they grow. And there's such formative years from like 0 to 7. That's so big. And one of the things they did at the Sudbury School was any lesson that was taught to the student had to be initiated by the student. So if they wanted to learn math, they had to go to a teacher and say, hey, I want to learn math. And they're like, okay. And then they'd get a group of kids together that were interested in learning math. And it could be a class of like 8 people, 10 people from ages like from 1st grade to 4th grade to 5th grade. And so all those age groups would be together in a classroom and the teacher would teach math. and they'd teach it in like a 12 or 16-week session, and they'd get from addition and subtraction to like like advanced geometry.
Bam, bam, bam. Instead of,
Really
let's
quick.
all go over this 100 times until everyone gets it,
Dude, it shocks me that they teach English and math if you go through high school for 12 years.
Yeah.
And people still have trouble with fractions and like percentages.
It shows that something's systemic, like there are a lot of, and I think we live in such interesting times that, like, I don't know, people say the age of Aquarius, people say the end times. I think a lot of old structures are coming down because they aren't working for us anymore. I think we're seeing those changes even with COVID. Like, I mean, I know a lot of people that are we live in such a technological age that, people are more comfortable sometimes doing this, or, they've found that routine. I don't know. We have to adapt. We're adaptable creatures. We just have to do it.
Yeah, we are. And it kind of starts with that awareness first. Like, hey, this isn't working. That's number one. This ain't working. We gotta do something. We gotta figure something out. Like I know somebody who's got a kid, and she's homeschooling her son because the education system, like, she's aware of how it's run, and it's not passion run. It's more of
it's
like,
more of a social arena for kids to learn stories from others, to see like, oh, Billy beat up Jimmy. That's bad. He got a detention, cause effect. Like, it's more for that, I feel like. And I mean, like the client I work with now, the 1%, she was homeschooled. So she missed a lot of what other folks on the spectrum kind of may have gained through interactions with, hundreds of different people. And I think that could attribute to a big reason why she is the 1%, sure. But the mom saw that the school system sucked. So you have to, who knows? She might have been better now than she was if she went to school. You can't really make that judgment call, but it does. I think school serves as really just like gossiping, high school drama. That's all it was that I remember. It was a lot of BS.
You would hope it's like interaction, and it fosters that connection, like creating connections with fellow peers. Like you'd think, you would hope, but then the aspects of bullying come into play.
Right.
Like,
and that's why a lot of kids like this online stuff, because they don't have to deal with other people. Like,
yeah.
So I get both sides, I mean, I'm Libra, right?
But popularity is another thing that comes into play, like the popular kids, and like, no, you can't be a part of our group. You can't sit.
Which was so funny, because like my high school experience, I was literally the weirdest kid, but I was also the anchor man. So people saw my face every day in the morning. So they just got to see, first thing they think about is, oh, Oliver's being a weirdo on TV. And, I mean, I was weird. Like, I'd wear duct tape shoes, shape ups that I duct taped, and a big poncho, or sometimes a duct tape suit, like, just wacky, little daffy, or, trying to just come out of my shell, discover myself, I guess. I was prom king. I was homecoming king. I was French and Latin king. I had a fan base, and I had haters, and I loved them all. And you know what? The haters loved hating me. That was the funny thing. But the lovers, who did they love? And I still love them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, it was weird how, like, I think I honestly attribute a lot of my popularity in high school to the fact that I didn't give a fuck what people thought about me. And that's why I was like a big fish in a small pond, because everyone gave a fuck what they thought about them. But I didn't really. I mean, I do. And I do care what people think about me. I think it's important to. At that time, I didn't, though. But I've realized over the years, I've come around. My ears have gotten a little less wet behind them.
Yeah. Wow, that's good, man. Yeah, that's
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny how that works.
Yeah.
But everyone in high school is like, oh my God, Sarah's gonna see the pimple on my forehead. I'm gonna just tear a hole in my forehead, And it's like, oh my God, like, don't worry about it. Everyone else is worrying about it.
Yeah, that's literally such a situation. It's like, oh God, I don't want anyone to see this pimple. How often is that a high school thing? Like, you
Or
tear a hole in my forehead because
yeah.
I don't want anyone to see this, then it looks worse. Then you got to walk around and you're thinking about it all day.
Pimples are I've always been a firm believer in that, like, there is infinite knowledge in whatever you want there to be knowledge in. But pimples, right? Let's talk about pimples. They are a very great allegory to the idea of ruminating on something and perseverating on something. You dig in, you make a mountain out of a molehill. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, literally, almost.
Wow.
But you know what I mean? Pimples, dude. They're wild if you want them to be.
That's some serious words of wisdom. That's a serious, like, metaphor or simile of, like, making a mountain out of a molehill. Like, this little pimple, this little blemish right here.
Right, this little mark on my life
is going to make.
I have so much guilt. I have so much this, that, and the other. I'm gonna just tear a hole in my head. Like, yeah.
It's just gonna ruin my day right here. This could ruin my week. This could ruin my life.
It could ruin your whole life.
This could ruin my life. Oh my God.
Just one pimple.
When you look at it in that respect, you're like, this is so fucking stupid.
And you know how you treat pimples? You just kind of like drink water and let them go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wash your face,
Yeah, wash your face. Pop it when it gets too big.
Yeah, too big, then you can, like, really release it.
Dude, don't try to pop it before it's ready, though.
Yeah.
That'll make it worse.
And we were talking, I don't know, I feel like we were talking about, like, just like taking a break, coming back to something, and then rocking it, like that mindfulness, right? Where we have to call ourselves out and like, okay, let me, like, put this on the back burner, digest it a little bit, then really, like, get to it, It's all that.
Yeah. I remember, there was one time I was doing some housework at my dad's condo with an ex-girlfriend of mine, and we were replacing the toilet, and we were doing it at like 8:00 at night because we had the energy. And we, like, sold it to my dad, and we're like, okay, let's do this. And we, like, joked about it, and we got started and whatnot. And so as we were, like, going through the process, we did, like, the first couple steps and whatnot. And, like, there was, like, a point where she was like, I think we should take a break. I think this is a good time for break. And I was like, I think that's 100% right. Wow. She nailed it on the head of, like, perfect timing for the break. And that's, one thing that I found so super cool between men and women and, like, the masculine and feminine is the ability to, like, be intuitive and perceive, like, energies or feelings, because that comes from, like, the feminine energy, and masculine energy comes with, like, logical processes and the best way to do something. And, like, that's why they both are, like, polar opposites and they attract each other, because being able to observe, like, that situation of her saying, I think we should take a break. I think we should go eat a snack.
Right. Yeah, no, it's such a duo. Such a duo.
You hit the nail on the head in that moment.
Right.
Like, couldn't have been more perfect. I was like, wow, that's good. Because, like, at times, like, I'm sure if you focus on something too much, and we talked about it, you focus on it too much, it starts becoming less fun and less fun. Now you're getting upset about things not working. Now you're, and it just kind of goes downhill. So, like,
it really
goes up. Then when it starts going down, that's when it's time for the break. But if you keep focusing on it, now you're just getting pissed off about it. Now
it's like, like I've noticed that in like gambling too. Like when you're up, but then you start going down, and then you really go down. It's the same thing. It's taking a risk. That like there are other ways. You know, if we just have that mindful mind, the no monkey mind.
Yeah.
The good happens.
Yeah. It's crazy because there is that point of if you start focusing on something like too much and like to the point where you're getting upset. I remember there was this one time when like I was playing GameCube back in the day. I think I was in like 3rd or 4th grade. I was playing this X-Men game. And I was like going through the storyline and I was fighting this one character on like a difficult setting. And like my health would like slowly go down, like naturally, like the guy was poisoned. And I had to kill the other guy or beat him before I died.
Right.
Yeah, before I died. And this is like the last guy or something. I played this guy maybe like 15 times.
Right.
And
it's
like I'm playing him,
enough, you know?
I'm playing this guy. It's like just a computer, but I'm playing this computer at my grandmother's house. I'm getting visibly pissed the fuck off from losing to the point where I'm like literally like
boiling.
I'm fucking boiling.
Yeah.
And like the guy keeps beating me. I'm like crying. I'm like so pissed. And my grandmother can hear me in the other room, and she's like, "Hey, look, I think you need to take a break. I don't know if you got."
I'm like,
no, I'm doing this. I'm not taking a break. Stop. I'm like crying. It's all of that. You know, I think it's something special about like relationships or something really special where that advice that my grandmother gave me was not as, hey, maybe we should take a break. It didn't come off the same way as my girlfriend did at the time. So something about like relationships open up like a whole nother category of learning and growing for humans because you're dealing with like all your past issues in a relationship and both people are choosing to be in an intimate relationship, which is different than just friendship, where it's like both people are neutral with each other. It's like intimate. So now there's more of a tie together. So something about her saying, hey, we should take a break was I was more receptive to than like my grandmother telling me that at like.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh my God. I mean, my dad has probably my whole life told me, you know, do this, do that, the other. And I'm stubborn, as I said.
Yeah.
So I really was like, no, I need to learn it for myself, you know? Yeah. And then my girlfriend tells me the same exact thing. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I know.
Isn't that an interesting like thing? I find that so interesting.
Yeah, it really is.
Like
totally.
something about somebody like a special person that's yours. Like, okay, I'll take your advice. You got a good point there.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, it's just it's a breath of fresh air because sometimes, you know, I think a lot, you know, and it's nice just being like, hey, guide me, let's guide each other, let's help each other out, like let's go through this together. I think it's so beautiful. Love is so beautiful. Really relationships, friendships, they're all relationships really, but intimacy is always important. I mean, it's just like connection is so important.
That's special. Like, you know, it's super interesting. Something I've looked into like the whole past year is that like a lot of like past experiences, like either traumas that we have or certain knee-jerk reactions, they all become apparent in the relationship at some point. Like whatever issues we have.
Yeah, the truth always comes out. Totally.
They're gonna come out without a doubt.
Believe me, I know.
Oh, you know, yeah, I know.
I know.
And it's not like they might not come up in regular friendships because you're not at that level of intimacy. You're not like that connected where you're like sharing the deep parts of yourself that you're like insecure about this, or you're nervous about that or whatnot. It's really, everything pretty much comes to the surface eventually, and then it's an opportunity to work on it. So I find that stuff so cool, and like that's one, hands down, that's one of the joys for me in this lifetime is making that connection with someone special, and then kind of growing too, and like pointing out things like, hey, I don't know if you noticed you do this, but like,
right.
Like,
Yeah.
hey, I noticed this.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I never. And I mean, there's like stages to it too, like that stubbornness, and then like it's like the stages of death or whatever, like grief, bargaining, like you go through all of them.
And you're
but
like,
because you literally are ritualistically killing off an old version of yourself when you change behavior. So you really do go through those motions. It's really funny. Like you can sometimes even see it play out. Like, oh my gosh, denial, anger, bargaining, forgiveness, acceptance. And then you change if you want it to work. I mean, relationships either meet, move, can either go this way or move more. That's how they work.
Yeah. Yep. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, but it's communication. Communication's so important. It's something I've been working a lot on.
I feel that's something that everybody needs to work on.
A little work on. Totally. Everybody. I thought I was like, this like smooth talker, charismatic, silver spoon, in his mouth or whatever, or silver tongue devil or whatever. But no. We all have things we got to work on. Totally. And I mean, that humility is when we realize that like, I am wrong, or I did do something bad. Let me move on and not do that again. Because the definition of insanity, we all know it, is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. It really is.
Yeah, man. That's 100% like accurate. Communication is such a topic that like, and I was the same way. I thought I was great at communication in certain situations. Then I was with like an ex-girlfriend, and it was like, holy shit, her level of communication was up here.
I know that. I know that.
She was defining her needs and her wants in the beginning of the relationship. I was like, whoa, that's wild. I've never done that before.
They're beautiful creatures. People that can self-advocate for themselves.
Yeah, that's big.
It really is.
That's big, to be able to have the awareness, to have gone through it, to be able to put words to the feelings.
That is, yes.
That's tough. Yes, that's very tough. And to be able to express it in a way that's not argumentative or accusatory or in like a manner. Yeah. You're talking like you're up here.
You're a god at that point. You're not even human at that point.
Literally, you've separated yourself.
Yeah.
Majorly, to be able to say, hey, look, and also to be able to address it in a certain manner. Like if something comes up, like,
or are they the human, and the people that just aren't being mindful, aren't being conscious of that, are they the monkey? Like
sometimes. We get into knee-jerk reactions, and we're just
zoom. Yeah.
Say something, we say some sharp words like towards someone.
Yeah.
And, like there's a lot of discipline to be able to kind of hold back those emotions that want to get let out really quick, and just like, okay, I'm gonna talk to this person about it. Like I'll bring it up like at the end of the night or tomorrow or something. And I'm going to like express it in a way. Hey, do you remember when you said so-and-so to this to so-and-so or whatnot? Like,
right.
Like you don't know this, or you may have forgotten, but that really affects me. Like that's something that I haven't worked through yet. And I got really upset. I didn't say anything in the moment. You may have noticed a slight change in my behavior, but I wanted to talk about that because that really made me feel a certain way.
Yeah. No, that really hits home for me. That really hits home for me.
Yeah.
Because literally yesterday I got into a fight with Adriana, and she's showing me a picture of like Hannah Montana's brother, or Miley Cyrus's brother. And I guess there was like, he was really skinny and then he got really buff. And I've been talking about like hitting the gym, and we go to the gym, and it's been really great on my mental health. We don't go enough though. And so she was like, I'm just like trying to get us to go to the gym. I'm like, all right, yeah. He looks like an asshole though. And I just like turned it into a fight. I didn't need to, but I turned it into that. Yeah. And she got really, sensitive over it, and just like vulnerable. And she communicated that to me, said that it hurt me. And I overreacted, and I had those knee-jerk reactions at the time. It was tough, but she made me realize so many things about myself that like I'm not trying to do, but come off that way. And the road to hell, man. It's
that shit is so valuable, honestly.
Yeah. You gotta hold on to those spiritual warriors in your life, the ones that can tell you it doesn't have to be like this. You can do it. Your mom, your dad, those are the people that we hold in our lives, that we keep in our heads. Totally.
It's like moms and dads, like they're great and they've been there so much, but something about like
relationships too. Yeah, I mean,
that person can really also help us like examine the things we've gotten from our moms and our dads from an independent perspective, from someone who knows us really well. Like friendships can do it too if they've known us like a certain
very like close friendships. Totally.
And they're able to take that step to say, hey, I want you to be aware of something, or I noticed this. That's a good friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the stuff that's within us, it's crazy what we turn into a problem. Like, like we would like just so many stuff. Like you said, like guy going to the gym, like it's like the stuff within us, like mirrors in the outer world. And we're like, I hate that part about me, so I hate that part about you.
Yeah, totally.
Hate that you do that. I hate that.
Yes.
And you're like, oh shit. So after you like get some time, you're like, let me do some self-reflection here. Why was I so upset at that?
I know, yeah. I wasn't even upset about him. I was just upset. Like yeah. But hey, that's where communication comes in hand, and apologizing, saying sorry, and forgiving yourself, really. It's all very important.
Yeah, that stuff is so important. Like, those things are gonna happen. Like, because of the fact that we always have some aspect of ourselves to work on and improve. Like, we're never gonna be perfect, but these little improvements can bring us closer to heaven than like the hell that we've been experiencing when it comes up or something.
Yeah.
So that communication is so key. And to be able to, hey, say I'm sorry, like, that's big. A lot of people like,
but showing you're sorry too, I mean, actions speak louder than words, don't they?
It's how there's like, communication is such a huge thing, because you can say you're sorry, but it doesn't come off that way. Like, you're actually sorry, or you're not.
90% is nonverbal of communication.
Literally 90. I did a speech on that at one point. 93% of our communication.
I can see it.
Listening intently when the other person is talking about why they were upset is huge.
Right. And that humility is so important. I mean, like, oh my gosh, what did I do?
Yeah.
This isn't who I wanted to be, or like, this isn't what I wanted to come across as, or whatever, but
to be able to look at that and say, hey, look, that I didn't mean to come off this way. Like, I was upset about this, but I could have said that in like a one sentence thing instead of like a paragraph long or essay long outburst.
Well, it's just funny that
man, that's such a big thing. And that's why I'm so thankful for relationships and special things like that, because you do really grow. And another thing that I've kind of like realized is you attract people that are on your level of like where you're at currently.
Yeah, totally. There's a it really is like a almost dimensional thing, I mean, we are all reflections of who we hang out with, what we spend our time doing, the environment we're in, the people we put in near us,
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
It's all a reflection. Like,
It is. We the observer is the observed, right?
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. It's wild. Like self-awareness is like a thing that's really like a game changer. Like I've always been into like personal development and like self-growth and like always enjoyed that stuff. And like when you start to become aware of yourself of like, why did I get pissed off at that? Like then you could start to see where you have room to grow. There was like this quote, I was reading this book. I forget which one, but the guy was talking to a monk and he was like, how can I gauge where I'm at spiritually? Like, is there any ways that I can gauge that? And the monk was like, there's plenty. And he was like, give me one. He was like, go through your day and see how often you get pissed off. And that you can use that as an indicator of where you're at spiritually, of where your growth level's at. Like,
Yeah.
If you're getting pissed off all the time, like you got some work to do.
You got some things to face. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, because it could be like somebody that cuts you off in traffic.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, totally. What helps me with that is when, someone's like got road rage or just like driving erratically or whatever, I just like ease back a little bit and then just think to myself, that guy's probably got to take a mean shit. I'll let him do it. I've been there. And it's like, it's none of my business, but I'm not gonna like, oh, I'm gonna tailgate you now because you really pissed me off. Like, no, you're just poking a bear at that point.
Yeah, man. It was like, I remember this one other story I read. This one guy was like driving like a little bit erratic, like he was pulling up to a stop sign. He knew he was going to go before this other guy, regardless if the other guy was for it or not. But then he looked over at the other guy, and the other guy was like in such a different place, like mentally, his car. He was just like,
yeah, it's like,
come on. Yeah. It was like, and the guy sped away, but it took him like 3 or 4 blocks before he realized that guy was living in a totally different world than I'm living in.
Yeah, totally. I mean, hey, we aren't mind readers, and I think that's the hardest part about communication. Is that we aren't. I wish we were. That'd be cool. But
so we can't really read minds, but we can read like feelings or like
and vibes and energy.
And vibes. Something that seems off or like you seem upset about something. And to be able to put words to that in a question form, and if the other person can communicate, then you can go somewhere, make some progress. If they can't, then it's like, okay, well, I'll just go focus elsewhere.
Right. I'll put my energies where I'm needed,
Just don't attack me with that, or don't lash out at me. That's whatever. Yeah. That whole, like you can be in a totally different mental space when you're driving. And when you said like slowing down, that's like, I love doing that. Like I'm naturally like, I go through different phases.
Go. I know.
Like going versus like, I'm just enjoying the cruise.
Right.
Ride. Yeah. And like one thing I noticed is that if I'm driving on the highway and it's really packed, there are times when I'll take a breath while I'm driving. Like an actual like.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I used to be like a smoker. I try not to be anymore. Every now and then I'll have some. But have you ever done alternate nostril breathing?
Not really. I've heard of it, but
So like you like close one nostril and then full inhale, and then with the other you exhale. And you don't even have to do that. Like my watch has like the breathe app or whatever. It just is like do it like once a day for like a minute, and they just tell you to take 5 deep breaths.
yeah.
I do it with my client. She loves that thing. When I'm able to kind of like I've gotten to know her well over the past couple of years, and like you can start seeing when she's about to have like an episode or a meltdown or something, and I'll be like, "Hey, you want to breathe real quick?" She's like, "Yeah, I do." Every time. And she puts it on, and like the vibrations and the visualizations from the watch really help her. They really help me too.
Yeah.
I love apps. I think, the future is so bright. It really is. The fact that we can like have apps that help us with our mindfulness and help us stay in the present and drink water and go to bed on time and calculate things and interact with friends. Like people watch too much Black Mirror and they're like, oh man, the world's bleak, the world's dark. But like,
Yeah.
oh, like the world's great. In fact, it's the best it's ever been. There
Yeah.
are things we got to work on. I mean, climate change, Earth, that like we've the thing that the thing of it all is that we're just so resistant to those things because we've lived in systems that just don't work for us anymore. I'm just summing up everything we've talked about pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's, apps, they really, it depends on how we use them. Like we can use them and just like kill time on social media
Yes.
and like
Yes.
just waste your day away. And you're like,
Yeah.
well, that didn't help me at all.
All right. Well, I'm back here. I'm still
Yeah,
here.
I haven't left my bed for 3 hours.
Yeah.
This
Right.
hasn't
Right.
helped me. But
Yeah.
then you can use it
Yes.
to connect with people.
And communities. I mean, I've found so many cool I've explored my hobbies on Facebook, and they have like amazing community pages of like mushroom foraging, bird watching,
Yeah.
anything under the sun, like
Yeah.
really, it's so cool. But you are absolutely right. I mean, we can make it a positive thing or a negative thing. It's just really how we spend our time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's how we use it because like these
Yeah.
things can really help us, or they can really hurt us. So
Yes.
I know like one thing that I came across was in one of the books. It was actually the book Conversations with God with Neil Donald Walsh. No. Yeah, I think that's his name, Neil Donald Walsh. And this guy like has a conversation with God, or he has a conversation in his head, and he would hear something back to him. And he one of the things that they talked about was instead of looking at the world in terms of right and wrong, because like right and wrong a lot of times is somewhat subjective. Because
Yeah, right. There's two sides to every story, right?
yeah, there's always two sides. There's always like one person that's for it and one
Or
person against it.
three sometimes, yeah, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, there's always like one person for it, one person against it, and like if you like listen to both people, you can understand their sides. So
Yes. Devil's advocate.
instead of looking at it in terms of right and wrong, he said look at it in terms of does this serve me or does this not serve me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's a very stoic belief.
yeah,
I wanted to share this book because it's helped me so much.
yeah.
Um, so like I love the Tao Te Ching and like philosophical works. The art of war is such a if you apply those tactics to communication and things like that, like there's a lot of insight you can gain. But the book that's always changed my life is Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. He was a Roman emperor, and it's actually his diary that got it's not he didn't want other people to read it, but it's how he deals with being mindful, reflective. He is so self-aware. It's kind of crazy, but a lot of people call him the Western Buddha. He's a very cool guy. I definitely recommend checking out some of the quotes. They're really cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna check
One,
that out.
Yeah. And I mean, he literally says what you just said. Does this serve me? Always ask yourself 3 questions when you wake up. Does this serve me? Does benefit me? All those things.
Yeah.
It came from that.
It's a good question.
It is. I've been in the habit recently of when I wake up, having this routine schedule. It's so important in our lives. I realized that with COVID, but having a to-do list, checking things off, and it keeps you going. It keeps you on the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we become like those unconscious clapping monkeys. You know what I'm talking about? Just that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's much more. Yeah, it's definitely important. Another thing I got to focus on is not being so. This is one thing that I've noticed within the past week or a couple months, whatnot, is not being so task oriented all the time, but also being people oriented.
Mm-hmm.
So, not so much like more interested in contacting people because of the connection you have with them, and not just to get some business taken care of or get them to do you a favor or
yes. I know so many people that are like, it's like, I'll scratch your back if you scratch my back, and it's like, what kind of friendship is, I mean, that's actually, I take that back. That is good, equal push and pull. I understand that.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about more is the like just the type of people that they'll only go out of their way, right, if they get something in return. Self-serving people. The people that are like, oh, I'm feeding kids in Africa, click Instagram. That's going straight to the gram. It's just like inauthentic. And authenticity is the most that's your very soul. That's your soul, your heart getting judged by Anubis right there, right now. Or it gets eaten by the crocodile and you go to hell, like whatever.
Yeah, that's so big. A lot of times, like, people are living in a way that's inauthentic, or they're putting off a certain image when they don't really feel that way on the inside.
Yeah. Vulnerability is it's hard. It totally is. I get it. In some ways, I'm taking a lot of things to the grave. Sure, I get that. But it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah. It was like, it's funny. Like, I go through a different phases myself. Like, I come off as like, a lot of times I'm like the happy-go-lucky person, and I'm just like in love with like the environment and whatnot.
Right.
Times like I'm in my house.
Yeah.
And I've been like scrolling on social media, and I'm avoiding my
music full volume, door closed, just
I don't want to talk to anyone. If anyone reaches out to me, I'm like, God, do I have to answer this call? I'm just not gonna do that.
Right.
And like that's a side, we all have like a side of ourselves that we don't necessarily always show.
Yeah.
And like it's tough at times because you always want to be that like true person, like the person that,
but you don't want to be naked, you know what I mean? You don't want to offend someone either. Like it is a fine line, is what I'm trying to say. I try to be authentic as I can. But I mean, I don't want to like jump over someone and like suffocate them, the more that you spend time, the more that you get to find out how people really think and talk and all that. But I mean, I don't know if you've ever like had a date where they just like tell you everything that's wrong, and like it's just like, whoa,
not on the first date.
Yeah, right.
Oh, you take your time with that,
please. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's wild. We want to the guy Joe Dispenza, because I'm just reading his book, The Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself.
Yeah.
There was like this one line that was like on the chapter, and it said, it's creating true transparency. when how you appear is who you are truly free.
And I mean, that's what blew me away with like, politics is like, you take one look at Trump and you're just like, this guy says he's this, but this is what's actually happening. And it's like documented, but like, no, but it's the same idea, I guess.
Yeah.
But you really got to fake it till you make it. You really have to.
Yeah, at times there's like another thought process to like envision. There's a saying like in the Bible, it says pray as if it has already been done. And it's like a couple other teachings are like envision like the feelings that you'll feel when it's already been completed. Like instead of being in a state of anticipation about a future event, go to after the event's over and it's turned out great. Like you're going to be in a much better state if you can change those thoughts and change your mindset so that like,
you're already there before you know it.
You're there before you're there.
Yeah. Wow.
And like in like law of attraction speak, like that is like more of a draw to bring that to you. Because you're already there. You're not worried, you're not fretting. And if you're already there, you're enjoying the day that's in front of you and not worrying about it not going the way you want it to.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean it's in the Bible too. It says pray as if it has already been done. So
these universal truths,
Yeah. Yeah, they're big.
They really are. I don't hate Jesus. I just don't really like his followers a lot of the times. Not all of them.
What was the saying? I forget what it was. It was like,
or I don't not like him.
Your Christians are so unlike your Christ.
Yeah, I think Gandhi said that, I think.
Yeah,
Yes, exactly though.
I love your Christ, but your Christians are so unlike your Christ. Like there's another saying. It's like God prefers a kind atheist versus a hateful Christian.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. But these universal truths that Christ preached, I agree with them, the golden rule. I agree with that. Don't kill, don't steal, this, that, and the other. I agree with all of them. Anytime I've ever done something wrong, it always bites me in the ass. So like Marcus Aurelius, this emperor that wrote this book, Meditations, he writes, live a good life, because if gods exist, they'll welcome you with open arms. If let me look it up because I'd hate to butcher this.
Yeah.
But here, if there are gods and they are just, then they will not care how devout you've been, but will welcome you based on the virtues that you've lived by, right? If there are gods, but they're unjust, then you should not want to worship them anyway, right? And if there are no gods, then you'll be gone, but you will have lived a noble life, and you will live on in the memories of your loved ones. And it's like, yes, right there, absolutely.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
You live on in the memories.
Just like, be authentic, live nobly,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's big,
That's a big one.
That's a big one, living nobly.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. It's
but sometimes you have, I totally get it. Sometimes you have to get somewhere to realize something, and every sinner has a future, every saint has a past. But you're right that in thinking that you're already there if you choose to be. You're in the kingdom of heaven if you choose to be.
Yeah.
You just got to get there. what's stopping you from getting there, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. You know, what I've noticed over like life is that life has a way of throwing a situation at you and be like, how do I work through this? And you may work through it well, or you might not. And you may have, like, every situation that comes up, there's a lesson to be learned. And so whether you take that lesson and learn it and internalize it, or you leave it and you didn't pick it up that time, life's going to throw a similar situation at you again. Yeah, it's going to happen again. Some point, whether a couple
months. Because you haven't advanced to that state, the next state.
Yeah, whether you learn that. A couple months or a year down the line, it'll come up. It's going to come up again. And so at that point, when it comes up again, do you use what you learned and be like, oh, I remember this? Or you're like, oh, this again.
Right.
Here goes another month of my life wasted. Life has that way that it just does that. It throws the same situation, the same pitch at you to see if
I've noticed this. I've definitely noticed this.
Or you just keep missing. And
we build and you know, we build these patterns in our lives, these themes that go in and out constantly. And I mean, it's like, I don't know, like I think about like a lot of the relationships I've had, and it's things that I've, you know, that have kind of been reoccurring sometimes, a lot of times, not just relationships, but friendships, you know, and sometimes positive, sometimes negative, you know, like it is what it is, but and sometimes it's helpful and sometimes it isn't. But we are creatures of habit, and we build these routines and these patterns develop. Totally.
Yeah. I've definitely noticed some patterns that come up in relationships, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to start addressing these things. Because
because I've already lived it. I've already done it. Why do I need to do it again?
Once you see the same pattern come up like a handful of times, you're like, okay, I think it's time to address it. Because if not, you'll just keep going through it. And
and the same thing's gonna keep happening. The same insanity.
With a couple variations. Pretty much the same.
Totally. Hey, I've been there, man.
Yeah, man.
But you live and you learn.
Yeah, you know, it's hopefully that's the idea. Yeah, man. No, it's good stuff. You know, life is like a big learning lesson. And
it is. I know, and I'm excited for what I'm gonna learn from it. You know, I think there is. I think I don't know if I believe in heaven or hell or anything like that. I think that it's more, you know, what we make of now to see what comes. I definitely don't think that like the energy of a body just it's gone. I think the energy goes somewhere, maybe into mushrooms or composting. And then it, you know, it's like this great rebirth, like the biology of it all is just wow, you know? Wow.
Yeah,
the great recycling of everything. And
there is
so cool.
On this earthly planet, like things do just recycle. What's super cool is that like there's certain like in spirituality, it's like Abraham Hicks talks about like our soul is like the electricity and our body is the toaster.
Yeah.
So it's like and it's the same with like our pets and like our friends and like the birds. Like there's like a soul that's there. There's like it's a living being.
Think of the idea of the whole universe. The word uni. One verse song. What a song, you know.
It's everything's like in that respect, everything is connected. Like everything's got a soul. Like where my soul comes from is the same place your soul comes from.
Right. Yes.
After we die, they go wherever that is.
They go back there. Yeah.
I like to think it's like the fourth dimension or the fifth dimension.
Right.
Other dimension that we can't access right now.
Yeah.
But it's there, and then our bodies just get recycled and we turn into like the worms and and the food they eat and the vultures, if we die in the
and,
forest.
I mean, and as Marcus said, as we've said, the memories will live on. That's the whole idea of the Epic of Gilgamesh, is that like he wanted to find immortality, so he had all these trials and tribulations, and then he died because of his hubris, but he lived on, and we're talking about him now. We're reliving him up today. Yeah. And when we die, maybe we will have affected people positively or negatively, but we will have affected them, and they will have reacted to how we were in our life. And maybe the lessons that we have taught them will shine on in their children or whoever they pass the stories down to.
Yeah.
And so we all are getting recycled, and we are all one. You know what I mean? Like, in a way, everything's 7 degrees of separation or whatever, right? Like, totally.
Yeah. It's really cool. I started looking about maybe like a year, maybe 2 years ago. I found this group. I started off reading this book called The Book of Love, and it referenced this other book called A Course in Miracles. And
I feel like I've heard of that book.
Yeah, it's kind of, I describe it as like the newer version of the Bible, or like it'd be like the New Testament, something. It was channeled by a professor at Columbia, and a lady was like transcribing what was coming to him. And like the idea behind it is it's supposed to revamp a lot of things that we've picked up from the Bible, like a lot of like terminologies or a lot of associations that we associate things with. Like one, it talks about like a miracle. Like in the Bible, a miracle is walking on water or multiplying fish. Like it likes to redefine those terms to say like that would be like a miracle, but a miracle, a modern day miracle is like getting past something that used to upset you your entire life. Like that's a miracle. Like what it does is it raises the bar for how we should try to be morally value-wise. So where like one of the things it said was, if you start to equate like it was talking about like anger, like in this one chapter, and if it says if you try to equate a mild inconvenience or a mild annoyance is the same as an intense fury, then you realize you still have work to do.
Yeah.
And like, so things like that, like it's like, holy shit, that raises the bar.
Grounding, very grounding.
It was like another one, a chapter, it talked about guilt. And it talks about how in some respects we look at guilt as like, all right, well, if we make ourselves feel bad, then the other person who we did something bad to will see that we've made ourselves feel bad, and they're going to go easier on us, or they've seen that we've affected, or maybe in God's eyes, we're atoning for our sins by feeling bad and making up for it. But it was like that guilt of you doing that to yourself doesn't serve you one bit at all. Not one bit. Feeling guilty doesn't serve at all. And it's just something that kind of keeps us in that same cycle of a pattern. So it, like the full book, A Course in Miracles, is literally like a Bible. Like it's that very small print. Goes for like 500.
I'll have to check that out. Nice.
Check that out. It's the back of the book has it's like daily lessons. So it's like 365 lessons to work on, like for like each day. You can kind of try a new lesson.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
But it's not like a book that you can read it right through. Like every chapter is like,
right. Let me reread that. Let me digest that.
Yeah. You really need to digest the stuff. Like it talks about like forgiveness in a sense of we don't necessarily need the forgiveness of others, but we mainly need to forgive ourselves for the things
and then that
happen.
yes. Oh my God, yes. Wow, that hits home.
Forgiving others is important for us because it helps us to let go of it. And if we do something bad, we got to forgive ourselves. That's more important than needing the forgiveness of the other person.
Because who's number one right now? You know?
I know.
Me.
Yeah,
like, yeah.
exactly. If you're going off of like,
what other people say, you're just getting swept away. And before you know it, you're doing something crazy.
You're getting swept away. It's like, if they don't forgive me, I'm going to continue feeling like shit, or I'm going to devote more time to trying to get them to forgive me. When in reality, we just have to forgive ourselves for the shit that we've done.
Yeah.
So like, a lot of it is like a breath of fresh air. It's like, whoa. So yeah, it talks about like awareness and how what's right changes over the years.
Yeah.
So like what we view as right in our 20s is going to be different than what we view as right in our 40s. Like the things, our awareness, our things, it changes over the years. So
because
like
somebody and like our personality changes, and our dreams change, and who we want to be changes, because reality, it's weird. When you're a kid, was it just me, or did everything feel like a cartoon? And then reality kind of dawns more and more, and you realize how the world works, and things kind of become like more like real. I don't really know what reality is these days. It's kind of gotten upside down the past several years, but like I'm making more sense of it. Maybe that's why, and it's that chaos that is really where the world is, how the world runs.
Reality itself is subjective.
Right.
Like you could be living in a different world than I am. Like that guy blowing through.
Totally am. No, I'm just kidding.
It could be, and in no like manner that your world is less than mine or anything like that. We just
my color blue could be different, than your color.
And it just is. It's not like it just is. No judgment on it. It's just there. It just is. Like kind of like the gentleman blowing through the stop sign and the other guy all nonchalantly enjoying his day. Like, yeah, man, go for it. I got all the time.
You got to. Right. I'm not going anywhere.
I'm in no rush. Like, and that's what I really love about connecting with people and seeing different things, is you get to see a different way to look at the world. And like, even like children, like they have a different view of the world than we do as adults, because they're focused on having fun and like exploring and learning. And it's like their first time ever seeing a flower, or the first time playing in sand, or the first time they're like, whoa, this is a radically new experience. Whereas we're just like, oh, he's just on a swing.
Right.
He's on the swing. It's like,
but he's
this
in
is
a
the best moment of my life.
Yeah. Totally.
So it's totally different. And like we learn, I love learning different like views from different people. I remember one time I was driving back from a friend's house, and I was with an ex-girlfriend, and we were driving back to my place, and out of nowhere, it's like this one road, and a deer jumps out, and I end up hitting the deer at like 25-ish miles an hour, 25, 30. And like the deer got hit, and it like kind of like flew
bounced
like 10 feet
or something. Yeah,
it flew, it fell on the ground, and then it skidded like another 5, and then it like slowly like got its bearings together, and then it like hopped back the same way. It hopped back the same way it came. So I'm like, well,
that's a good idea.
That was really unsuccessful trying to cross the road. You didn't even cross. You just went back the same way.
Right.
But my first thought was like, oh fuck, I hope my car's not fucked up. Like,
yeah.
And like, that was where my mind went. It's like, oh God, I just hit this deer. I hope my car's not fucked up. Well, the girl that I was with was like, her first thought was, oh my God, I hope that deer's okay.
Deer's all right. Right. Yeah. I know.
Wow. What a different way to look at it. Like, it's like, fuck the car. I hope the deer's okay. That's another way to look at it. Like, I love that. I love being able to get a glimpse into like a different viewpoint like that.
Perspective's important because otherwise we're just thinking about what's self-serving, I think sometimes. And we're all guilty of it, sure. Yeah. But she's right. I hope that deer is all right.
Yeah, me too.
But I hope your car was too. You guys are both right. You really, but yeah.
Like you said, I think at times, and I've fallen into it myself, and I've seen myself like be more into it more as like a self-serving kind of state of like, I do what's best.
Me. Yeah, I gotta do me.
Yeah. Gotta be aware of that. Of like, hold up, like, and that's a part of what I mentioned earlier, being like task focused versus people focused. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, are we still on? Are we still doing this? Are we still just like task focused instead of like, how are you doing? Like, give me an update. Tell me something fun. What are you excited about? And having like a genuine conversation versus like, all right, we're still scheduled for the 25th of so-and-so. Right. Okay, great. I'll talk to you then.
All right. We'll grab lunch. Ciao.
Ciao. even grabbing lunch is good. That's like,
yeah, it is good. But I mean, like, we'll grab lunch and talk about the reports and expenses that are due. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Those people just need to go away. They just need to go away. Or they just need to learn,
Yeah.
But you're right.
Yeah. Balance is like such an important, like, so important.
It is.
Figure out.
That's coming from a Libra, so it's true.
Yeah. What's the Libra? Is that like the scale?
The balancing, yeah.
Balancing, yeah. Balance is such a key, man. There's like ways you can tell if you're out of balance. If you've been doing one thing for too much, too long, it's just, and you're like, this is not fun anymore.
Yeah.
I gotta go take a vacation or take a breather or do something.
Yeah, totally.
Take that break.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we were able to dive into all this stuff.
We really dived and we thrived, didn't we?
We thrived. Yeah, man. It makes me realize you and I got to get together to just like hang out for a day.
I'm about it.
Yeah, let's
do it, man.
Yeah. I'm so down. I'll come to your area. We can do stuff.
Cool. Do we have numbers? We'll talk about that later. But
yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Yeah, we can honestly, if you want, like, I got a Planet Fitness membership. We can.
Me too. Yes.
Perfect. Let's go hit the gym and then let's go like chill out for a day because I need a day that's not like work driven and things I gotta do. Like,
hey, you know what? I'm glad I took this opportunity to talk with you because I've been looking for a gym buddy and we were just talking about finding opportunity. Like, what the heck?
Man, I
love how it works.
And you're a great dude. We don't hang out enough either. So it's I've been looking for like more people to hang out with or more like friends or more like connections. And it's like, oh yeah, you're a quality person. I'm like, I'm excited to come hang out with you.
When I saw you post this podcast thing, I was like, oh, I love Doug.
Oh man. Yeah, I know. And like, and our whole art, I'm so happy you showed up at the art studio.
Yeah.
There's like so many good people just come out of that place, and it like attracts people that are a little bit more different, more hippie or more like progressive, but also like have a ton of different views into a whole bunch of different stuff. And it's
it's a well of positivity. I really do love that place. I hear they're opening up soon.
Yeah.
Again. Yeah.
They had their top floor. I invited Alec. I'm gonna have him on this podcast at some point. He's gonna be on here. I got Paul. Do you know Paul?
He actually told me. He told me, he was like, hey, you're doing a podcast with Doug? I'm like, yeah, I am. He's like, I'm Wednesday.
Yes. Yeah, Paul's on Wednesday.
He said, well, just a fair warning. He did say he might not be able to swing it.
Okay.
So try to touch base.
All
but
right.
Yeah. No, I'm glad that you're getting everyone.
Yeah. I need to. It's funny. It's becoming a more professional approach. And that's the next thing I need to start doing is confirming with people the day before, because I've had a couple podcasts that I'll get to it and the people forget, or they'll things like that. So now it's confirming the day before.
Yeah, that's good.
Just a natural thing, the stuff I sent you for the
yes. I know. I didn't realize you sent that. Then I looked at it. I was like, oh, I got to fill everything out. I better do this right now.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I did, because I would have totally just been
which isn't a problem, but for me, it slowly it's fun.
It gives flow, totally.
It's whatever you do, whatever you're paying attention to and you spend long enough with, it slowly starts to get better. And in the beginning, before I had this podcast, I wanted to do another podcast. I had this website called the Cannablog, which was about blogging about how cannabis is becoming legalized in the United States.
Just raising awareness.
Yeah, raising awareness. And I wanted to do this podcast called the Podcast.
Nice.
Right? It was a great idea. I bought this mic and I was coming up with a logo. And I wanted to figure out everything in the beginning. I wanted to
you had the vision, obviously.
I had the vision, and then I wanted to figure out the logistics, who my guests would be, how the format would run. I wanted to figure out everything. And as a result of wanting it to be perfect from the beginning, it never ended up getting started. So one of the best things that happened to me was my one friend had a podcast, and I was on his podcast 2 or 3 times, and I was talking to him about how it went. And he was telling me yeah, man, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect.
All right.
Gradually figured out. I listened to one of his podcasts, and he was telling me he was recording a podcast on his phone while walking in the park, and the wind was blowing, and you could hear the wind in the background of the podcast. And I was like, oh shit, if he can put up a podcast with hearing wind in the background as a distraction, I can put up a podcast that's first.
I mean, you know what? Anyone we look up to, they did it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they did it.
It's Miles Davis, he says something. He says, it's not the note that you play wrong. It's the note that comes after that matters. He was improv jazz. You know what I mean? You just got to go with the flow. And look how, that's improv jazz,
Yeah. That's awesome. That's really awesome. I read another quote that was, I think it's Ernest Hemingway. And he said, everyone's first draft is shit.
Yes.
That's
totally
here. So that was something that I'm really thankful that I got past, and now things are rolling, and it's okay, now what critiques can we look at? Now how can it get better? Now we can look at different stuff. And
it's exciting. It's important to be excited about what lies forward. Otherwise, we don't create those opportunities. If we know that we got the power, we got the power. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, right.
But if we are just oh, I don't want to hang out with someone, or I don't want to do this or that because I'm feeling inside myself right now, then that's all we're just gonna close ourselves up. I'm so glad that I took this opportunity with you today.
Yeah, me too.
It was therapeutic.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. Writing it last night, talking with you right now about everything. It's awesome, man.
Yeah, man. I'm really happy about it. I'm excited to have you on again, man.
I'm happy to be back.
Conversations like this, because I'll have some other podcasts where sometimes it's more work. Sometimes people aren't as open to sharing or things, and I got to really pry with questions and give some background or give some lead into the question and things. But conversations like this are so enjoyable because it's such a free flowing
It is.
Yeah, it just
I mean, we've been talking since like 11:30, you know.
I know. It's great. Like I talk to people, they're like, "What are you doing with 2-hour podcasts?" And I'm like, "Well, the conversation's good.
Listen to them.
No problem with it."
All right.
Yeah. It was
I'm gonna have to get going. But I thank you so much. I think this is such great work. I can't wait to see all the other people you have on. Can't wait to be back on.
Yeah, man. I'm excited. It's a fun journey. So I'm really thankful that I got to have you on. And dude, we shared some great nuggets and dove into some really awesome shit.
We did. And I can't wait to hang out with you.
Yeah, same, man. I'm gonna hit you up. We're gonna get some fun hangouts going.
Cool.
Pleasure, man.
Well, hey, until next time, man. Until next time. I'm so impressed with the people that come in my life, our lives. I'm proud of all of this that you're doing. I'm happy to say that I can, do this with you and share this with you. I think that's really cool. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a really wonderful thing, and to be able to share these moments, I think that's really what life is about. Like, it's this, and then it's also like seeing and doing cool shit. But like the connections we make, that sometimes far beats like doing things.
It's eternal. It really is. It's golden. It really is.
That's great, man. Well, thanks again for coming on. This has been a joy.
Yeah, Doug. See you around, man. Hopefully see you soon. Sooner rather than later.
Yeah, no, we're gonna get together very soon.
Cool. All right, dude. Take care.
All right, you too, man. We'll talk soon.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, peace. Hey, everyone. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast with Oliver. That guy is an amazing dude. If you're listening to this and watching this on YouTube, please give it a like. Let me know what your favorite topic was in the comments. And if you really like it, subscribe. That's a big plus for me. And if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anything else, give it a follow. You can check out the new episodes that come out. But until then, have a wonderful day, and I hope everything's going well. Peace.